into a list of protein sources based on how good they are for your natural testosterone and overall health. When we're looking for optimal protein sources, we want high micronutrient content, bioavailability, and low toxin content. I like to think about it in terms of ROI, or return on investment for the food that I'm eating, right? So keep that in mind. For optimal hormone function, we want cholesterol, we want good fat like animal omega-3s, we want lots of micronutrients and no endocrine disrupting toxins. So if we can get those in combination with a protein source, that's going to be an optimal protein source. Think of it as a care package for your hormones. You want to give your body everything it needs to build muscle and manufacture high levels of natural testosterone. That's what S tier is going to be for. A tier is going to be good sources, B tier, all right sources. D tier will be things that you should probably not consume. F tier, you should never consume. And L tier, lowest of the low, never touch it with a 10-foot pole. So let's get into this. We're going to start with beef liver. Absolutely S tier. This is literally nature's multivitamin. It's one of the most micronutrient dense protein sources that you can find on this planet. Amazing for your testosterone levels, amazing for building muscle, creating an anabolic environment in the body. It is a god tier protein source. Next, we have bacon. I'm going to put this in F tier because 90% of the bacon out there has added nitrites and nitrates, which are cancer-causing chemicals, right? You don't want to be exposing yourself to this stuff. It's a poorer quality protein, and the fat from pigs is poorer quality in comparison to the fat from beef. They're just a lower quality animal source than something like a ruminant animal. What are we going to go with next? Eggs. Absolutely S tier. The way that you source eggs is pretty important. You want to go for quality eggs, guys. Obviously, if you are really broke and you can't afford it, eat regular eggs. They're going to be better than no eggs. But the cholesterol and the micronutrients in an egg is literally everything your body needs to build muscle and manufacture high levels of natural testosterone. That being said, you want to get pasture raised, preferably corn and soy free eggs. A lot of times when these farmers are raising eggs, they're raising chickens to produce more eggs, they're feeding them corn and soy in high amounts, and that makes for a higher omega-6 fatty acid content in the egg yolks, which is not something that you necessarily want. The higher quality eggs you can get, the more of a hormonal benefit you will get from eating them. Let's see, ground beef. Amazing source of protein. It's not the same as steak, right? Ground beef will never be the same thing as eating a steak, but it's super nutrient dense. It's got cholesterol. It's got saturated fat in there. Those two things help your hormones along with the protein and the micronutrient content in it. So it is a goated source of protein. Let's see, Spam. Absolutely L tier, lowest of the low. Diabolical source of protein right here, guys. The ingredients in Spam are disgusting. Okay, there's no reason you should be eating this unless you are starving to death in a zombie apocalypse, right? Soy, tofu. What the fuck are you doing eating this? There are influencers online that will tell you that soy doesn't lower your testosterone. It literally does. And not only does it lower your testosterone, it binds to actual estrogen and androgen receptors, rendering those androgen receptors occupied. Right? So your testosterone, your DHT, your body's androgens cannot bind to that androgen receptor and express itself. That's what soy does. It takes away your testosterone's ability to express itself in your body. It takes away masculine gene expression. On top of causing gynecomastia and binding to estrogen receptors and acting as estrogen in the body. It's not good for any human to consume. It causes breast cancer in women. Like, why would you eat it? There's no good reason to. Chicken liver. This is an S tier food. Okay. Actually, matter of fact, I'm putting it in A tier because it's not quite as nutrient dense as beef liver, but it's still an amazing source of protein, amazing source of micronutrients. Oh, but I put ground beef in S tier. I don't know. I'm gonna go with S tier on it, guys. It's more nutrient dense than ground beef. Hot dogs, where you're going L tier, lowest of the low. This is what, and same with salami and pepperoni, guys. Nitrites, nitrates, preservatives, maltodextrin, seed oils, they're all up in these, okay? Why would you put those ingredients in meat? I have no idea, but they're in there. These are what people are talking about when they say that red meat causes cancer and heart disease, okay? Not this. This is what causes cancer and heart disease. Get these out of your life. Next, we got peanut butter. Jiffy peanut butter. We're going L tier, lowest of the low with this, right? Because this particular brand contains seed oils, and peanut butter in and of itself is very high in linoleic acid, omega-6s, that will be preferentially stored by your body. They create excess oxidative stress, free radical damage in your testicles, okay? These are not things that your body wants to deal with. When you eat something like a nut or a seed or peanut butter, the body gets all of these omega-6s and it says, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to burn this for energy, right? Because it's going to create excess oxidative stress in the body. So we're going to put this away for later, and it's going to store these in your fat tissue. This isn't necessarily anything science-backed, but I think that when people are in a calorie deficit and they go lower and lower and lower, and they have this last layer of body fat that they just can't seem to lose, it's really difficult to get rid of. I think it's because these omega-6 seed oils have built up in their fat tissue, and the body really doesn't want to get rid of these, right? It doesn't want to have to burn these for energy because they cause excess oxidative stress. They literally damage your bodily tissues. They damage your organs, the lining of your blood vessels, right? Your testicles. So there's no good reason to eat peanut butter, guys. Just point blank period. Same thing with natural peanut butter. It's not going to have seed oils in it, so it's not going to be as bad, but you still should not be consuming this. It's high in omega-6 fatty acids. There's no reason to eat it. It's not a good source of protein, not a good source of nutrients. It's high in anti-nutrients, phytic acid, that bind zinc, that bind other minerals in the body. It's no good reason to eat it. Let's see. Bear. Bear is going to go in D tier, okay? It's not a ruminant animal. It's got a horrible toxin filtration system, right? Similar to a pig, it's monogastric. Bears eat fish, wild fish, and bears get worms from those fish. And then you eat the bear got the worms from the fish, and you get the worms from the bear. There's a high probability that bear has parasites in it. I would never consume bear, okay? It's not worth it. Let's see. Elk, absolutely amazing source of protein. S tier protein source. It's a ruminant animal. Great at filtering out toxins. It's in its wild, natural environment, running away from predators, reproducing with mates. Probably some of the healthiest meat that you can get. That being said, it is lower in saturated fat than something like beef, right? And saturated fat is extremely healthy for you. Your body makes cholesterol out of it. Your body makes sex steroid hormones out of that. And so it's a leaner meat, but it's amazing. It's micronutrient dense, right? If you can find elk liver, holy shit. That would be fucking phenomenal. Let's see. Egg whites, A tier protein source, right? Not very micronutrient dense. It's basically just pure protein. It's an A tier protein source. Flax seeds, absolutely L tier, lowest of the low. These are more estrogenic than soy, guys, right? People like to tote flaxseed as a great source of omega-3s. To think that plant omega-3s and animal omega-3s are the same thing and they give you the same benefits is asinine. Right? These are questions that people need to ask themselves. Is the omega-3 in a flaxseed the same quality as the omega-3 found in something like sardines? Hell no. Why would you eat it? I don't know. This will occupy more estrogen receptors, more androgen receptors than soy itself. Horrible. Remove this shit from your life. It's not a health food. It's not benefiting you in any type of way whatsoever. Next, we have raw milk. Now, this might be a controversial take, but we're going D tier. Right? Raw milk is still A1 proteins. It still has A1 casomorphine, so it's going to be inflammatory. On top of that, you're putting it in a plastic container. Let me break this down. Anytime you put a fat into a plastic, fat molecules are going to bind with the plastic molecules, and that fat solution becomes saturated with microplastics, saturated with BPA. When you combine that with the fact that it has inflammatory A1 casomorphines in it, it's not a good protein source, right? You're drinking something that's going to cause excess inflammation in your body. People like to tote raw milk as having a bunch of health benefits. And if you get something like A2 raw milk, which is an A tier protein source, then yes, it has a bunch of health benefits, right? You're still going to get estrogen in A2 raw milk. There's no way around getting estrogen through dairy. Anytime you eat dairy, you're going to get a little bit of estrogen with it. Now, is that estrogen going to be problematic? Who knows, right? If you're drinking a gallon a day, probably. But you have to look at it through a lens of ROI, return on investment for what you're eating, okay? Am I going to eat a microplastic solution that's going to have A1 proteins that cause excess inflammation in my body, right? Or am I going to eat a microplastic solution that has very, very healthy amino acids, very, very healthy micronutrient content? That's the choice that you have to make here. If you can get A2 raw milk in glass, chef's kiss, right? Amazing source of protein. Keep that in mind. A2 organic Greek yogurt. This is more of a fat source than anything. It's going to give you some good protein in there, but it is a fat source at the end of the day. Still super healthy, and it's fermented, so a lot of the cow estrogens get filtered out. Quinoa, absolutely horrible source of protein. There's like 8 grams of protein per cup of quinoa, so you would have to eat, what, 20 cups of quinoa to get your daily recommended intake of protein as a 200-pound male? That is asinine. That being said, it's also got anti-nutrients in there, right? So it's an F tier protein source. There's no good reason to eat this. Okay, same with beans. Beans are actually L tier. They cause horrible gut health. They're high in phytic acid, they're high in lignans, anti-nutrients that are going to contribute to poor gut health, that are going to bind up minerals that your body needs to make testosterone. At the end of the day, there's just no reason to eat them. Anything that causes gas or bloating, you should remove from your diet. That's a signal from your stomach to you that, hey, we don't like this food, stop eating it. Your gut bacteria don't like the food, stop eating it if they're overproducing gas. Wild-caught salmon, A-tier protein source, phenomenal, right? It's not as good as red meat, just because red meat is higher in micronutrients, higher in saturated fat, a little bit higher in cholesterol as well, that your body can make sex hormones out of. Salmon is more contaminated than ruminant animals when it comes to environmental toxins, microplastics, pesticide runoff. It's a less clean meat than ruminant animals. Pea protein, F tier. There's no good reason to eat it. Literally no good reason to eat pea protein. Premier protein, L tier, lowest of the low. If you guys look at I used to drink these when I was a kid. Okay, if you guys look at the ingredient labels on what this has in it, it's got like canola oil, it's got soy in there. Why in the fuck are you putting this shit in a protein shake? Brother, let me ask, there's no good reason to put that in a protein shake. Edamame, same story as tofu. We don't want to be consuming soy, okay? Another crazy fact about soy, and a reason that I think a lot of these food companies put it in a lot of products, is because soy has something called soy morphins, which are, it's the same concept as A1 casomorphine proteins, okay? They bind to your opioid receptors, and they are addictive to your body. Soy in and of itself is literally addictive, okay? You should not be consuming it. And I think that's why a lot of these processed food companies put it in everything. If you go to the store, you pick up a box of mac and cheese, it's got soy in it. Why the fuck does soy belong in mac and cheese? It doesn't. But they're putting it in there because, I believe, because it's addictive. It makes people eat more of it. What is next? Casein protein, L tier, lowest of the low. You're essentially isolating A1 casomorphines and putting them into a protein powder. Make that shit make sense. People like to tote this as a slow digesting, amazing source of protein. It's fucking not, dude. You will get crazy stomach distress when you eat or drink this stuff. Okay, and the reason that it's slow digesting is because your body will literally form a mucus layer in the gut around this stuff to protect itself from these inflammatory A1 proteins. It's like, this shit is asinine, bro. It's not a good source of protein. Let's see, on that same note, we have whey protein. It's going in D tier, okay? It is not as micronutrient dense as red meat, as these proteins here. I would drink egg whites over a whey protein shake any day of the week. And most of these whey proteins have sucralose, they have artificial sweeteners in it. Sometimes you'll even find seed oils or like soy lecithin in the protein powder, right? It's what the fuck are you doing, bro? Get that shit out of my protein. Let's see, sardines. Now, the caveat to these is that they're in a metal can, and metal cans are lined with BPA. So going back to the micronutrient return on investment, right? These are super high in micronutrients. They're super high in omega-3s. Good source of cholesterol as well. But they're in a can lined with BPA. So it's like, yeah, you're getting those micronutrients, but you're also getting a certain amount of toxin exposure. Okay, so I'm going to put those in B tier. Same story with canned tuna. These are lower in micronutrients though, right? You're going to build muscle eating this shit, okay? But you have to look at the fact that it's aligned with BPA. You're literally eating an endocrine disruptor when you eat this stuff. Keep that in mind, right? D tier protein source. Beef testicle. S tier, absolutely phenomenal. There's not a lot of studies done on beef testicle extracts or eating beef testicle and it improving testosterone production, but if you go off the theory that like supports like, beef testicle is going to give your body everything that it needs to repair your testicles. And your testicles, whether you want to admit this or not, are being damaged on a daily basis by environmental toxins, by oxidative stress, by things like these, right? That create free radicals in the body. And these free radicals damage your testicular tissue. So it makes sense if you were to eat a beef testicle, it's going to give your body everything that it needs to repair your testicles. And when you repair your testicles, you produce higher amounts of testosterone. Kind of bro science, I'm aware, but it makes sense to me. And I have supplemented beef testicle in the past, right? Desiccated beef testicle. And I noticed an improvement in my testosterone levels when I did that. Over the last 4 years, I've developed a pretty good sense of my hormones, when my testosterone is high, what that comes with, right? So I can kind of tell when something has a positive impact on my testosterone levels. And when I was supplementing with this, I felt a noticeable difference. There's not a lot of science behind it. Still a good food. Chobani yogurt, absolutely horrible. Absolutely, this is not on the same level as raw milk. It's not as high in protein as whey or tuna or bear, so we're going F tier with that, okay? Honestly, this brand probably has some artificial dyes in it, probably has some artificial flavorings agents in it, right? And most of the time, those things cause lower testosterone levels. They hurt your body's hormonal function. Let's see, what else? Nuts and seeds, absolutely horrible source of protein. I'm going to put them in F tier though, because they're not necessarily super deleterious for your health, but they are high in omega-6 fatty acids. And we know that these lead to excess oxidative stress in the body. They are preferentially stored as body fat. And nuts and seeds are generally high in anti-nutrients that bind up things like zinc, things like magnesium. You know, you have phytic acid. You have oxalates that bind to calcium. They're just not a good source of protein, right? They're not a good source of fat either. Why would you eat them? Beyond meat, this is probably one of the most diabolical inventions created by man. There is literally, and I mean literally, no reason to eat this shit on the planet. Canola oil, soy, what the fuck? Why is this an invention? Who knows? You know what? I'll tell you why it's an invention. Because big food companies wanted to make money off of veganism, right? So instead of the vegans saying, oh, I'm just going to eat corn, I'm going to eat, rice and beans, and let's give them a processed food product, high in horrible ingredients, cheap shit that's going to wreck their health. That's what Beyond Meat is, right? It's not a good source of protein. Plant proteins will never be on the same level as animal proteins, ever. They're not as bioavailable. They don't work as well in the body for building muscle. Next up, we have Quest protein chips. L tier, lowest of the low. I've looked at this brand before. It has soy in there. Why are you putting soy in a protein chip? I have no idea. Get this shit out of your life. Do not eat stuff like that, okay? A2 pasteurized milk, it's going in B tier, okay? Not horrible. It's not high in A1 casomorphines. It's not going to be super inflammatory to the body. Is it pasteurized? Yes. Does that denature some of the nutrient content in the milk? Yes. But at least you're not getting systemic inflammation from A1 casomorphine proteins. Next, we have cod. Cod is going in B tier as well, right? Great source of protein. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with cod. It is less dense in omega-3s than something like wild-caught salmon. It's less micronutrient dense than beef. Next, we have chicken. Chicken is D tier. And before you go and say, oh, but what the hell? Chicken is like the best protein source. Yeah, it's not as nutrient dense as beef. Yes, it's a good source of protein. Yes, you will build muscle eating chicken. But it is harder to source quality chicken than quality beef. People mindlessly buy this shit. Most store-bought chicken is plumped up with fluid that contains parabens. Okay? Parabens are endocrine disruptors. Why would you fucking inject the chicken with this shit? I have no idea. I don't know why these companies do what they do, but they do what they do, and it wrecks your testosterone. You can eat chicken. If you're gonna eat chicken, source it quality. Okay? Pasture raised. Be smart about this, guys. If you want a simple rule to stick to, red meat over chicken. Every time. More nutrient dense, more cholesterol, more saturated fat. Duck eggs, absolutely S tier. They are, in my opinion, superior to chicken eggs. They have more cholesterol, more protein, right? Why would you not want more of the good stuff? More micronutrients, everything. Goat meats. Now, I personally have never eaten goat meat. It is a ruminant animal though, so it's going in S tier, right? The whole reason that ruminant animals are S tier is because they're very good at filtering out toxins from their environment. And they can eat pretty much whatever plant and still produce the necessary nutrients that they need to live a healthy life. A cow's stomach has multiple chambers, multiple rumens, okay? So when the cow eats grass or grains, corn or soy, that soy goes into their stomach. The bacteria in their stomach then feed on whatever the cow ate, And those bacteria produce proteins, produce micronutrients for that cow's body to utilize, right? You ever think about why are cows so muscular and they only eat grass? They don't eat any protein. It's because the bacteria in their gut eat the food that they eat and then produce proteins for them. Next up, farm-raised salmon, F tier. Okay, farm-raised salmon are exposed to higher amounts of antibiotics. When you introduce an antibiotic into your gut, it kills off bad bacteria, but it also kills off your beneficial bacteria. Antibiotics are horrible for your hormone levels. They can change you as a person. In my life, I've ran a couple of antibiotic courses. I wish I didn't. And I noticed a decrease in my recovery, a decrease in my performance, right? An antibiotic course can affect you for the next 2 years, 1 or 2 years, okay? It takes your microbiome a long time to recover from antibiotic exposure. And so not only are you getting antibiotics in this salmon, you're also getting things like microplastics, you're getting environmental pollutants, pesticide runoffs, right? The farms that raise these salmon are notorious for having environmental toxins in their water. Regular cheese, okay? I'm going to go D tier with this, right? And I'm going to put Parmesan Reggiano in B tier, okay? Because regular cheese is somewhat aged and fermented, it gets rid of a lot of the inflammatory A1 proteins. Not all of them, but it does. Also, as a side note, guys, if you were trying to decrease the amount of body fat that you hold, do not consume dairy. Dairy is meant to put weight on a baby cow. Dairy is all 3 macronutrients combined into one food. That causes weight gain. So if you're on a cut, don't eat dairy. Scallops, absolutely amazing food, right? Obviously, you want wild-caught scallops. You don't want any type of farm-raised seafood in your life. Same thing with shrimp. Wild-caught only. Now, these are particularly amazing because they contain cholesterol, they contain iodine, and seafood is very high in zinc. All 3 of those things are necessary for testosterone production. The iodine in particular is going to help your thyroid. It's going to help your metabolism. Amazing sources of micronutrients and amazing sources of protein. Organic Greek yogurt. This is going in F tier. You're getting a exposure to A1 casomorphines. They cause excess inflammation, as I've said like 10,000 times in this video already. It's estrogenic. Actually, I'm going to go D tier, right? Because it is fermented to some extent. Regular milk, L tier, lowest of the low. It's just not a good food. Now, people are going to see this and be like, what the fuck? It's not good, guys. Okay? A1 proteins are inflammatory. You're causing excess inflammation in your body when you eat this. Excess inflammation leads to more oxidative stress, damage to the testicles. Also, estrogenic as hell. It literally causes gynecomastia. Do you ever wonder why teenage boys in the US now have gynecomastia at such high rates? It's because the dairy that they give them in schools, right? They're drinking milk and chocolate milk at school all day long. Crushes testosterone production in men. Let's see, lamb is S tier. Listen, there is an argument to be made that lamb is more nutrient dense than beef. On paper, lamb is better than beef. Okay, it has a slightly better fatty acid profile, higher in CLA, conjugated linoleic acid. It is a little bit more nutrient dense than beef. Amazing source of protein. Porky pig. This is going in F tier, guys. It's an unclean animal. And I'm not saying that for religious reasons. I'm saying that because pigs will literally eat anything you put in front of them. They will eat bird shit off the ground. Now, what do the birds eat? The birds eat fish. Those fish have worms. Bird gets worms. Bird poops out worms. Pig eats bird poop. Pig gets worms. You eat pig, you get worms. Okay? Parasitic protein source. They're a monogastric animal. They have a very similar digestive tract to us, and so they filter out less toxins. They store toxins in their fat. They store heavy metals. They store things that cause oxidative stress in the body in their fat tissue, just like we do. Okay? So when you're eating them, yes, you're getting some protein. You're getting some saturated fat. But the fat's a lower quality than something like fat from beef, right? From red meat, ruminant animals. Now, turkey breast, I'm going to put this in the same category as chicken. Actually, I'm going to move it up one. It's a little bit easier to source quality turkey than it is to source quality chicken, and I think it's slightly more nutrient dense than chicken. Right, protein bars, L tier, lowest of the low. There is no reason you should consume this. Eat eggs, eat some sort of good quality protein over eating this garbage. Most of the time, these have artificial sweeteners in them. They're loaded with seed oils. Like, there's no good reason to eat this. And a lot of these have whey protein in them. You cannot build muscle only eating whey protein, right? Maybe you'll build some, but you want optimal hormone levels. And to have optimal hormone levels, you need the micronutrients and the saturated fat and the cholesterol that comes with red meat, right? Whey protein has no taurine, it has no carnitine, has no creatine in it. Like, what the it's a good supplement, okay? It's a good supplement if you can find a quality version. Let's see, what's next? Beef, ribeye, or just steak, right? S tier, absolutely phenomenal source of protein. It's going to give you all the bioavailable micronutrients that you need, along with saturated fat and cholesterol, like I've already stated. Amazing source of protein. And in my experience, guys, red meat from a steak versus ground beef, steak is far superior every time. I just feel better eating steak. I don't know what it is. No science behind that. But I feel better eating steak. That being said, I'm not moving ground beef down because it's still on paper the same as a steak, right? Mussels, S tier, absolutely phenomenal. Good source of zinc, good source of everything that seafood gives you, like iodine. Good source of protein as well, although to get a sufficient amount of protein from mussels, you'd have to eat a lot of them. And the last one here, lunch meat. This is roast beef, and I'm actually going to put this in F tier because it has preservatives in it. This specific brand has preservatives in it. Nitrates. We don't want to be consuming that. So there you have it, guys. I want to reiterate this. You want to focus on ROI, return on investment for the food that you're eating, right? Different foods have different effects. You cannot go wrong with red meat. Red meat is high in micronutrients that your body needs to produce testosterone. It's high in cholesterol that the body can use to make testosterone. And it's high in saturated fat that the body can grab and create testosterone out of. Okay? Red meat is the king of everything on this planet in terms of food and micronutrient density. Red meat should be the base of your diet. Am I telling you to go carnivore? No. But red meat needs to be the base of your diet if you care about having optimal hormone levels and building lots of fucking muscle, which is what we all want. That being said, I hope you all got some value from this. Go out there, eat some ground beef, eat some beef liver, eat some beef testicle, raise your natural testosterone. Stop eating the garbage in F tier and L tier. Okay, there's just no good reason to eat this stuff. There's literally no good reason to eat this stuff. And remember, boys, in a world full of don'ters, be a doer.